All right. Now we're going to do the same thing using the same formula, only have a word problem. It says, according to her doctor, Mrs. Brown's cholesterol level is higher than only 15% of the females age 50 and over. The cholesterol levels of females age 50 and over are approximately normal, distributed with a mean of 225 milligrams per deciliter and the standard deviation of 25 milligrams per deciliter. What is Mrs. Brown's cholesterol level? So, what we're going to do, figure out first of all, is that here it says only 15% of the females, it has a higher cholesterol level then. So first of all, we have to do 1 minus that. Oh, put it in it for me. All right, get started on the bottom.
I know.
Because if only 15% of the females are higher than that, that means that 85% would be lower, right? So what we're going to figure out is Z sub 0.85 has to equal X minus our mean over our standard deviation. We know the mean and the standard deviation. We can plug that in there, right? So, my mean was 225. My standard deviation, 25. We have to solve that for X. So first thing we're going to do, use the Alex graphing calculator again and figure out what Z sub 0.85 is equal to.
-1.037. I don't know how far.
364. Carry them to at least 4 decimal places, it says. Okay, so if I want to solve that for X, don't clear out your graphing calculator. What's the next thing you would do? I want to solve it for X, so what do I do to solve for X?
For which one?
If I have this equation right here, negative 1.0364 equals X minus 225 over 25. And I want to solve that for X. What should I do? Times by my 25 first, right? So I'm going to times by the 25, which basically cancels it out from there, moves it over here. Then I still have to move this over here, so I'm going to add that 225. So you're taking the negative 1.0364 times the 25 from the bottom plus the 225 to get the X by itself. There's your algebra. So we times by the 25 to get rid of the fraction, then we had to move this to the other side, so we had to add it. And we are going to round this to 1 decimal place, it says, once you put that in your calculator. So
Is it 199 is right there? X .99?
yeah, that's times 25. So then we times that by 25. So that's why we times this by 25 here. And then this we had to move over, so since it was a negative, we had to make it a positive.
Okay.
And you got what?
199.
One-
09.
So 199.1 if I go to 1 decimal place. Okay? All right. Woo. Lost the next one. The next one, calcium levels in people are normally distributed with a mean of 9.3 milligrams per deciliter and a standard deviation of 0.4 milliliters per milliliters per deciliter. Oh, just lay it up there. Individuals with calcium levels in the bottom 5% of the population are considered to have low calcium levels. Find the calcium level that is the borderline between the low and that not considered low. So again on here, this is the bottom 5%. We actually want to find the top 95%. So we're going to say Z.95 equals X minus the mean. The mean is 9.3 over the standard deviation, which is your 0.4. So first thing we're going to do on our Alex calculator is figure out what Z sub 0.95 is.
Negative 1.6449.
6, 4.
I'm going to do that one too.
6, 4. Okay. Negative 1.645. Yep, that's right. I probably should have went a little farther. You had 6449?
Yeah.
There we go. Equals X minus 9.3 over 0.4. So when we solve this, we're going to take this times the bottom number, and then we're going to do the opposite of whatever's on the top. So since it's a minus, it's a plus. So we're going to take the negative 1.6449, or just leave the number in your calculator, times the 0.4, which was on the bottom of our fraction, and then we're going to add the 9.3. And round it to 1 decimal place once you get it all punched into the calculator. So we're just going to use 8.6 since we're just going to go to 1 decimal place, yep? So on these previous two, they gave us the bottom. When they give you the lower end, you have to do 100% minus that. This one, they're going to give us the top end. We want to do the top 15%. If they give us the top end, we're just going to use that number. We don't have to do 100% minus that like we did on the 2 previous ones. So if it's the top, we're just going to use the Z sub 0.15 because that does the greater than when we calculate it. Equals X minus my mean, which is 500, over my standard deviation, which is 100, right? So if you first of all find the Z sub 0.15, you get
1.036.
1.0364, something like that. And then when I solve that, then I would do what? I'm going to take this number times which one? Times the 100, since that was on the bottom of my fraction. And then I'm going to add the 500. This one says round to the nearest integer. They changed it on me. Instead of one decimal place, it says round to the nearest integer, which means round it off to the nearest whole number.
604.
So 604, exactly. Alrighty.